First one, the reason we have this one on here is because officially, Jim or the board doesn't truly know what investigations are currently going on.
Right.
We know, we've heard that Knox started one, we've heard that Chief Jensen started one. There may be more, and then it also behooves us to go to the next one, and whether or not, we start our own. And Jim will find that out based on what he hears.
Well, my recommendation is you start your own regardless of what you find out.
Okay,
Right.
okay, let's
So first,
let's do number 10 first.
So first, I move that we authorize Attorney Mills to contact Kenosha and Walworth County District DA, or District Attorney's offices, Department of J, and FBI, I have heard of, regarding the investigations requested by I understand they have been making contact.
Who's they?
The FBI, someone from the FBI.
Oh.
You will find that out when you talk to the DA, because the DA has to.
Possibly.
But I would
don't
just-
know how agencies interact with each
I
other.
don't
know
either.
what they do.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second, discussion before we vote.
Why only Kenosha or Walworth? Why not Waukesha?
I
Why
would say
not?
anybody.
I don't want, Milwaukee.
Well, this is just asking people that we have heard are already involved, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Oh,
So this is just,
You've had discussions with Greg and you've had discussions with the chiefs, you know roughly those are two counties involved,
Well,
maybe.
that's what I have heard from Craig. The chief, I asked, who'd you go to? And I was told he went to the Walworth County DA, but they deferred to Kenosha County, so I know those two are involved.
Okay.
Craig had mentioned something about going to the DOJ, which is why I had that in here. I don't know what Craig submitted, I still need to talk to him, about that, and he might, like I was explaining, to some board members, if he has outside counsel, he might have been advised not to say anything.
Okay.
So I'm not exactly sure if we'll ever find out what Craig submitted unless these agencies tell me what they received from whom. The chief told me that what he had asked the investigations to look into was the allegation that he and members of his department were corrupt, and he referenced a false report or reports. Investigate, where the emails in the packet came from. I'm assuming that's Craig's white binder. And then third, how was the personnel record obtained that was distributed that had private, yeah.
All right.
I don't know
So all of those were initiated by the chief?
By the chief.
right.
Okay.
So, the board, might want something more than that when we get to the next item. But that's what I was told. The DA will let me know what they got, hopefully.
Is there a chance that they may not?
I'm gonna tell them that I was authorized by the town board to make this inquiry. It's gonna be up to them as to what they're willing to share with me or not.
Any more discussion on 10?
Any idea of timeline?
Well, it's not gonna happen tomorrow.
No, I
It'll be next week will be the earliest I can place calls out there.
Okay.
I do know, Walworth County deferred, so that might be helpful. I know the caseload for the DA's office in Walworth County is double what it was pre-COVID. So they're stacking trials like 5 or 6 on top, and you don't know until like the day before if you're gonna go or not. Which is how Milwaukee County always operates, but that's something that's sort of new around here. Yeah, I'll make the contacts next week.
Okay.
When I get a response, I don't know, and quite honestly, I contacted FBI in Milwaukee, I don't even have a contact person to ask for there. So that may take a little more, time in getting through to someone there.
In
I can
essence,
confirm with
you're
you.
just allowing you to investigate and get what information.
See what I can find
Yeah.
out.
What,
They both said they started investigations, and the board is left,
hang,
okay, that was supposed to be our job, I thought.
Right.
You know, what did you tell them?
okay.
Alright, so on the motion, I'll restate it, motion to authorize Attorney Mills contact, Kenosha and Warwick County District Attorney's Office, Department of Justice, and FBI regarding investigations requested by Officer Knox and Chief Jensen. On the motion, all in favor say aye.
I.
Aye.
Sure.
Opposed? None, 5-0.
You should do roll call on every
Sure,
motion.
On all these? Okay.
Isn't that what the electors asked for at the annual
I
meeting?
put
I think
unanimous,
it's,
and
if
if
it's
someone,
unanimous.
Okay,
I
If
put
it's-
unanimous,
if
if
it's
someone
with-
votes no, then I list that person
Okay.
as no.
perfect.
Okay, motion, and board discussion commencing investigation on its own. And the only thing on that, I'm trying to get in my head, based on what you find out, I don't think it's gonna matter what we do, we're gonna say we want one.
Right.
And then we'll say, okay, what are you investigating, and we'll probably say this binder, and they'll say, we're already investigating that.
That could be,
You don't know,
but you don't know.
we don't know.
No idea.
But I guess,
But maybe we want another independent investigation outside of these agencies.
What kind of agency would that be?
Another
strong
county,
county,
maybe Waukesha
a
County.
separate
yeah.
county.
Yeah.
Different county,
I mean, just to make sure we're covering.
Waukesha.
Right.
Waukesha, Jefferson,
Rock,
Rock.
Rock, exactly.
okay.
necessary because then the Jensen nor Knox
Can-
are.
Is that the one that started?
Tied to that in any which
Just
way or
kinda
form,
gets it.
we as a
Do we have to
group.
pay for this?
Is that right?
Might-
Do we have to pay for this?
Would imagine.
I think by default we are.
Either way, we're paying.
I don't know.
Is
If we go with the outside agency, if we can find one that'll do it,
it-
there might be
It's gotta be law
costs
enforcement,
associated with that.
it's gotta be law enforcement, it can't be outside of that. There gotta be some type of law enforcement, and that means another county.
Yes, and that's what I would like.
But they
to
might
see.
say, we don't have the time to do that, especially if someone else is already looking at it.
It could-
We already have Kenosha County and the Department of Justice, the FBI.
You think?
We need a CIA.
But,
We're just doing right.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, CIA.
Just to.
but at least we've attempted to go outside of
Absolutely.
Yes,
an arm's length of either of the two.
well, and just because, the DOJ may have been contacted, I don't know if they were or not.
Right, I was just gonna say that.
So-
They
And we
might
don't
not
know what
even
they
done it.
So
did.
either the DOJ or the FBI, they might end up being our independent agency.
Could you ask that, if you have not been asked to participate, can we ask you to participate as the independent agency?
Well, that's going to lead into 11. You might be asking, what is it that the town board wants us to look at? So I think we need to have a discussion under 11 as to what you want investigated.
And I think we need to determine if there's just cause for any disciplinary action or potentially violation of our police department policies, right?
Well, our police department policies, that's gonna be answered by the investigations. One or all
You would think,
It's
of
long
them,
as
that's
we
what
have.
you're looking at.
right?
If you violate a law somewhere, you
Yeah.
break a law.
And I can be specific in my request on what we need to delve into, because to me, there's a lot of personal hoo-ha going on. But specifically, it's the altering of any police reports after they've been submitted at their final draft where they're supposed to be hands off. And Knox, if I'm correct, well, that's an accusation he's making that Police Chief Jensen has tampered with those after the fact, and that, to me, that's illegal. I mean, if that, I mean, I don't know if that's illegal, but I mean, that's the statement being made.
That was discussed in closed session, this is an open session.
Oh my God.
And
no.
there is such a thing called an amended report.
Or supplemental.
Supplemental or amendment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree, that has to be one of the things that's looked at.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Well,
think,
so what can we say we can look at, cause that same.
Right,
thing was
and I'm
said on
sorry,
Fox
I-
News. That was said on
I
Fox
brought that
News
on
also.
by saying we need to figure out,
Right.
they asked me, what does the board want? But I don't wanna take it from the board that I answer for them.
yeah, I think.
And maybe we ask,
Before you can make a decision about going into investigation, we need to find out what's being investigated right now,
yes,
before we can move
although the
forward.
board can call for an investigation on its own, and then at the time of the, board meeting, if the subject comes up, you say the board has already unanimously voted, yes, we are going to do an investigation, we'd like it to be an independent investigation. Attorney Mills is making calls to these 4 people to see what they may be investigating, and the final scope of the board investigation is going to, in part, be determined by who's investigating what already.
But again, I still think we need to have something that is investigated on our behalf that is without reach of either Chief Johnson or Officer Knox.
And I think
And
Michelle,
ultimately, what we wanna know is if there's just cause for disciplinary action, right?
ultimately, I think that's,
And it doesn't mean any specific thing, but, yeah, and so then if that's the scope, and then if they come back and say, well, what time frame or what accusations, then we can
Yes.
provide those details. But,
Well, I think
That's-
the details are already established, aren't they? It's the binder, right?
we don't know.
We have no
that's
idea.
not our
that's what-
investigation, that's an existing
That's
investigation,
existing.
right?
That's what was
We
handed to
don't
us.
know.
We don't even
We
know.
don't know.
So how
You're
will we
guessing.
know then?
They're gonna have to tell me if they will tell
If
me.
they'll tell them, that's how you
Right.
figure out what they're investigating, but right now, they, like you said.
Right now, it's all
they-
assumptions.
Speculation.
We're
It's all-
assuming the contents of whatever binder Craig had went to the DA's office. This is what the chief told me he went to Walworth County with, so I'm assuming that's what Kenosha County is looking at.
But there's no emails in here, that's what I was checking. You said something about emails,
That's what the chief said.
yeah.
Where did the emails come from? There was something, I think it was communications with Village.
Yeah, that was an email. That's in binder. Yeah, it's towards the
Oh,
end.
from.
Withoutkus.
Okay, we can't really say a whole lot about what's in the binder.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm bringing that up is if we're saying we
Oh,
wanna start,
This is an email.
That's an email.
Saying-
if we're gonna commence an investigation on our own, don't we have to say what we want to investigate? We're saying no, we wanna
I
start.
think
Yes,
it's
well-
premature.
It
until we
is.
find out
But
what
you
being
said-
investigated currently.
And even at
No, I
that.
don't think it's
I don't
premature.
think so, I think.
Because to rely on the fact that Officer Knox
Right.
and the chief said that they started an investigation, that should not be good enough for the board. The
No,
board has to
they-
do
they
something
are
on its own
influencing.
motion.
Right.
They are influencing
We might not know
those
the whole
investigations,
scope of it right now,
but we
but I
have to
think
start.
you have to,
We-
my advice is, you need your own motion saying the board commence something.
Understood,
Yes.
understood.
And
Okay,
I do agree that one of the issues is there grounds for any sort of disciplinary action that the board needs to take, should take, is recommended to take, or is not recommended to take?
okay. All right, we need a motion on number 11.
I make a motion that the board, commence and investigate, independent investigation separate from that of Chief Jensen or Officer Knox in regards to allegations. Just allegations. There's multiple.
In order to determine,
Are you amending this motion?
Or could just say if there would be grounds for any
Disciplinary action.
disciplinary action.
Okay, that's good. Okay, do we have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Chad, second.
Chad?
Okay, any further discussion?
is that clear enough for you, Jim, to take that?
I think so.
I would like to see it not Kenosha, not Walworth. I would like to see it
Well, that wouldn't be-
a greater region like Waukesha, Jefferson, Dane, Rock.
Or even if you don't find it, or maybe they didn't, nobody went to the DOJ, that might be a good one.
A place to
You know,
start.
somewhere
Yeah.
else to, you know, it depends what.
Well, we
you
can have
find out.
further discussion on that, but I think it's important the board does something.
Agreed.
But I want it an arm's length reach away from
Understood.
participants.
You did say independence in your motion.
Yeah.
so-
Several times.
Regarding discipline, if an independent investigation found illegal, breaking the law activity, I mean, that would in itself, I mean, then it just referred to illegal, I mean, it's an illegal activity, I mean, it's not, it's a
Well, that would be
discipline in
handled-
itself, that's a law.
Right, that would be
a law.
something that would be handled separately if something needs to be handled in those arenas.
Yeah.
But the town board needs to know, as an employer,
Right.
if it has to do something separate and distinct from whatever else is going to happen.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, on the motion, all in favor say aye.
No, roll call.
Well,
No,
we make, if somebody says no, we're gonna roll call.
Only if it's not unanimous.
Okay. My bad.
All right, on the motion, all in favor say aye. Opposed? None, 5-0.
Sorry.
Yeah, if we hear one no in there, then I'll call. for one. Okay,
Thought we were doing roll call.
okay, motion to schedule closed session meetings with police department officers. Did we get anything from?
there was included with your agenda, which is paper clip to the back, that you got 2 requests.
Oh, okay.
And Officer Chad, I'm sure would, but he is on vacation. So,
Let me read this, yeah.
My thought initially was, unless a written request comes in or a grievance filed, the same standards that, Craig was told have to happen to get board attention.
Yeah, do
That-
they have to go to the chief first?
no.
No,
They
they can come to the board.
And that's what Craig never did. Craig never wrote a letter to the board.
But even if they come to the board, the matter of getting into closed session is a separate matter. So I wasn't sure how it could get in there, but then I went back and was looking at the media coverage, and there was a quote that, from Craig, the chief, let me find it. Oh, ethical, moral, and potentially illegal conduct of the town of East Troy police officers and the chief. So there are allegations against the officers too. And if they know the board is looking for guidance on disciplinary action, then I think that gets them their closed session meeting with their written request for one. If it references allegations made against them.
And to some extent, it's
John
almost,
says,
it's almost the officers giving a performance review to the chief. It's almost that way.
I don't read it that way.
No.
I think it's,
No.
they were lumped into a
defending
category
So
that
they're gonna-
they're corrupt too.
So they want to defend themselves.
Yes, that's how I read it.
That is what they have said.
You just,
All right, I understand. Okay, they don't mention any dates, and obviously we could try to fit it in with the next one if possible, but maybe not. So-
I don't think they can, they don't want the chief.
No, yeah,
Presence.
yeah, they don't want, their supervisors in the room.
Is
So,
there,
for
is there,
Jagelski, you wouldn't want the chief, and for the officers, they wouldn't want either the chief
Jagelski or the
Yeah.
chief.
or the chief. Yeah.
does it, anybody have any thoughts on, does it matter if we, because we're trying to schedule this with the chief now? Should that be first, should the officers, does it make any sense?
I don't know.
One way or another?
Too much difference, I don't know, I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
You think it was maybe?
well, I just remember, we were talking with Craig, and then we were talking with the chief,
Yeah.
and now, does anything make sense, or should we be looking at, because
I don't know.
does it
We
matter?
have,
Because I think it was,
I wanna hear everybody,
I
I
mean,
just don't
not
know
to
if it
say-
matters, or can we do it the same?
yeah,
If they can.
I
do
think
the
we have
same
mud on our
thing,
face because tonight fell through. So I think we should try and schedule that as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm,
You, by the way, you guys know why that happened?
I
I certainly didn't hear about it, or that's what. I
Well,
heard.
we, at our meeting we had, we excused him, so he went to North Dakota, right?
yes.
So he was gone, he wasn't here when we set that meeting date. And that meeting was the 20th,
20th.
right? And he had sent a commitment for tonight, a month ago. So he wasn't even given an opportunity to say, hey, are you even available?
Well, and the reason why that's important is whenever there's a closed session meeting where the issue of possible discipline could be on the table, the statute requires actual notice be given to that subject. And if he's not available, was actual notice given?
He was-
Well, I think the more important part is, he's the only one that can answer the questions that came out of Craig's closed session.
So,
I mean, no one else can answer that.
so it's a shame on us
Or
that we
address
didn't
that.
notify him the next day, or have it in.
No, he already was scheduled, he already had.
He was in North Dakota.
No, for tonight. He
Oh,
had something scheduled a month ago. And if he was here to say, don't
But what I'm saying is he wasn't notified 3 weeks ago, or whatever the exact time.